What is happening, y'all? Welcome on back. So let's go talk to all the leaders. Let's see what's about to go down.
Envoy? Is it really you? Kostya told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god.
When you didn't come out, we assumed you were dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nakutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
Yes, we have become more.
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giada and I have some theories about the nature of the Aedyr in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Aedyr here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart paradis? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutadek was riven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakukubel. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
Altruism is fertile ground for folly, I've found.
It was Aedyr's arrival that disturbed Sapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
Nandru never spoke of Sapadal, and I believe it was for good reason. They should never have gone free.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now. But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradis. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwig's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodka lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the garden.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the
mean-
dead woman. Very mature.
Bro kind of has a point.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence. Why are you treating him with kid gloves when Paradis cries out for help?
Enough. I've heard your concerns. We cannot change it now. The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Aedyr that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true god. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands. I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwine has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwine, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Aedyr will come. Indeed, we are already here.
Yeah, what is the grief room? Guess I could just ask about it.
The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Aedyr's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid.
So they still have sovereign control, but...
Subtle, pernicious, touch the rot, yet the disease remains.
Alright, Sapdog clearly doesn't like it.
Safety among spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
Tribute, he says. Taxes, soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We'd get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Aedyr showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Aedyr power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwine. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Well, give the matter some thought. You owe that much to yourself, at least.
It's a mealy-mouthed compromise. But better than going on as my wardens have been, barely able to feed ourselves or protect our sorry hides. And, who knows, we could become a colony in time.
A grave rum could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
With the Dream Scourge ended, my people can soon return to Fior. If a renewed animancy could easily feed the island, I suppose we could send Aedyr what's left. But when lean times come, who will we feed first? Ourselves or the Empire?
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Aedyran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Aedyr would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Aedyran shelling and speak only the Aedyran language. Their roads would be smooth Aedyran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Aedyran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Aedyran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would be turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rauatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
The Empire's prosperity would be our prosperity. The people of this blasted island
Of course,
would have
Coach is all about it.
security and comfort for the first time in their lives. My wardens deserve no less. I say it's an offer worth considering.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Aedyran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rauatai. And should Rauatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Aedyrans could do no better.
Under Aedyran rule, your countrymen would strip my people of everything. I cannot betray them.
Of course.
Ludwig's vision. Yeah, no.
Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
Envoy, be rational. This would be madness. We are all strangers to each other. We can't govern. I can't trust these people to keep my warden's best interests at heart when they're looking after their own.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Aedyr, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god in our pocket. What could the Empire do to stop us? When my people return to Fior, we could create such miracles of animancy, the Living Lands would become the breadbasket of the world.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Aedyr came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradis burns.
Hmm. I don't like this option. Let the people of the living lands decide for the people of the living lands. I mean, I'm between one of these two. I do kind of get what Sapdol's saying though. With the grief from at the end of the day, we're essentially a colony, just not entirely.
Envoy, be reasonable. This is not a good idea. Give these people an ounce of agency, and there's no telling what they'll do. Wodaka, have mercy on my soul. Well, what will the illustrious leaders of the living lands decide?
We are too weak and fractured to stand on our own. We need the protection of Aedyr now, or this will only happen again. Let us become a colony.
The living lands is going to need trade partners if we're going to make it out here.
We're gonna do one of each.
I support a grave rum.
Standing tall together, the living lands could be the envy of the world. I am for a united living lands.
Well, it would seem we are deadlocked. Thankfully, my work is nearly done. And when I am gone, Envoy, Paradis will be yours. So, in the spirit of the times, what say you, Mayor?
Look at how we've come together to stand against tyranny.
It's gonna be the same
We
thing.
deserve our freedom. Don't make this fight be for nothing.
But don't risk our survival on an idea, either. Between the Dream Scourge, the siege of Paradis, and destruction we've seen on the way, we're gonna need time to rebuild.
He wants the grief
And
rum.
we'll need more than principles to do it. If Aedyr can give us the support and protection we need, I say we take it. I'm for a grave room.
It was our home before any of this started. So maybe send Aedyr home and let us live here in peace.
He wants that.
Darling, after all we've seen your homeland do on our journey, I think it's time to send them home and leave the lands be.
No surprises there.
Oh man, this is a hard choice. Well, we did fuse with Sapdol. And I would be leading the grief room. If I could dissuade the Empire. I mean, the only thing I'm kind of like, oh, the living lands must be free. But Kai makes a really good point that after all this, we are going to be vulnerable and we will need time. It's going to be hard to have that time if everybody is suddenly looking at us. But at the same time, I'm going to be a god. We'll raise the roots from the sea and destroy forward invaders.
A united living lands it is, then.
We deserve this opportunity. Thank you for believing in us.
Fighting a battle together is easy. I just hope everyone's willing to stick it out when it comes to the politics.
God, they made the right decision for once.
Finally, some sense permeates the proceedings.
On your head be the consequences. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your...
Let's get to work then.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future...
Thank you for deserving it.
Good luck, Envoy.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. May all the gods of Eora and the living...
Let's take back the city.
Let's go free.
I want to run by the camp because she's talking about how she had a theory for like destroying the soul. What was I gonna do before that grade? Maxed. Bring you up. And then Tam 1. I kind of want to max this out though. Damn, 9 glasswood branches. Let me hear what she had to say, and then I'm gonna check merchants.
Can't sleep? We're going into battle. Your since when a god the
No, I want to hear about the soul destruction.
All we ask in return. From what I understand, your ambassador is for a politician like him. When he promises you, I'm glad we have time for you to get. In truth, I've been thinking about the Inquisitor, formulating a theory, you might say. A death guard clings to their existence by force of will. Stubbornness, unfinished business, that sort of thing. Ludwig is held together by faith, and that may be her undoing. Faith is the foundation of her reality. Faith in the righteousness of the gods. But according to her faith, Sapadal should not exist. A new god independent of hers? Blasphemy. By that logic, you shouldn't exist either. And yet here you are. By staying alive, of course. You are the godlike of a heretical god. A contradiction to her reality. Can you imagine how much she needs you to die? Her entire worldview depends on it. Who knows? Maybe that uncertainty is enough to make her mortal again. Or maybe not. I'm just theorizing as I go.
Interesting theory.
Whatever happens, I want to see it for myself. Not before I've done some reading.
Let me go check merchants for branches. Because pretty much every merchant was over here. Some, and a lot more than that.
We know you.
And then what does oh, you're maxed. So the only thing not maxed be the, well, technically both, but I'm not doing double pistol anymore. So let's need 8 more glasswood branches.
Where have you been?
Come on, merchants, show me what you got. He's got 10. Take it all. And I have Bloodwraith Toadstool. Is he the only merchant?
A familiar face.
Ah, Renville.
We meet again, Envoy. And you, Yardsley. You're always a prodigious and welcome sight.
Oh, yes. Always a pleasure to see you, too.
Paradis burns. Thanks to Ludwig and the Steel Garrote laying siege to it. But the Dream Scourge is gone. I can't complain. Being nearly omnipotent is pleasing. Sadly, the other archmages remain tedious.
The other Archmagi? Tedious? But think of what you could learn from them.
Give it a few centuries. You'll think differently. It's strange. A part of me thought you Aedyrans might be wise enough to leave Paradis alone. But here it stands burning, while Aedyr storms its gates. Still, I do think the world has been irrevocably, if minimally, changed by your actions. Envoy, please. You know there's no point lying to me. I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck. Mortal comforts are so very adorable. All you desire are your base needs lavishly fulfilled. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward to when all of this is done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Kind of expected a little more out of the discussion with her. Is there any other merchants? Just saw that one. Couple more branches. I mean, I guess I could buy gear and... No, I can't. I was thinking, could I buy gear and break it down, but... I swear, wasn't there a camp with, like, all... like, multiple dwarf merchants here earlier? Given the way this is going, I think for my other playthrough, I would just straight up be like... this game's version of, like, evil. Like, no, we shall form, I will. I agree with no wake. The lands must be tightened. Oh. Heaven Strike isn't maxed. I mean, that is my boss killer. I'm getting 12 more out of it. I'm getting... 13 more out of it. Yeah, I think I would do that. None. Oh well, that's good enough. All right, so let's close things out here. We've heard what everyone has to say. Siege of Paradis in the next part, and I'll catch you then.